the perfect time doesn't exist. And the same thing applies to letting someone go. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Jennifer Allwood Show. I'm excited to chat with you today about kind of a heavy topic, but we're going to be talking today about like 3 ways that you could perhaps know when it's time for you to fire someone. And nobody likes to fire anybody. Can I just say that first of all? None of us enjoy that, whether it's letting them go because of workload or letting them go because of performance or letting them go because you just realized you picked the wrong person or whatever it is. Like none of us love to have those hard conversations. Um, and yet, when you are a business owner, hiring people is often a very real part of you just being a business owner. It's like, unless you're going to be a one-man band forever, and if you are, you're going to stay small. It's just the way it is. I don't know anybody, not one single person who I have coached over the $1 million mark. Let's just say that, who does not have at least an assistant, or a project manager or a VA, a virtual assistant, or something. So if it's just you and your business, let me just tell you, you have got to be hiring some people, first of all. Okay. But that's a total nother podcast episode. Today, I actually want to talk about firing someone. And Lord knows I don't do this perfectly, but I do feel like I have learned how to do it decently well. And I think that's a different podcast episode also. In this episode, I just want to talk about how you know when it's time, because there are a lot of women who, I do Voxer coaching with, who do have other people working for them, whether this is a full-time employee or whether it's just a contractor. And so, it works both of those for both of those situations. There are just times when people come to me and they're like, I think I maybe need to, or how do I know if I need to release this person into doing something different? And so I have kind of 3 ways of being able to determine if it's time to let someone go. And so I thought I would share those with you today because I think it's going to be helpful. This is one of those episodes where you can just take notes on your phone. Jen said 1, 2, 3, and you may not need it today, but you may need it in the future. Or if you have a friend who is a business person who you guys have been talking, because when I never make a decision to let somebody go lightly. I will have conversations with Jason. I will talk to some of my best business buddies. Hey, help me see if I'm like looking at this situation through the right lens, or am I missing something, or how would you handle this? And so, if you know somebody that's in a situation where they're like, I don't know if I need to change the people on my team, or if I need to let my assistant go, if I need to hire somebody else, like send this episode to them if you would, because this will be helpful. Okay. All right. So, I think number one, if you are already asking the question, is it time for me to fire somebody? I think that it's already like past time. I think that so often we ignore our gut feeling. We ignore the Holy Spirit prompting us to do things, or we know darn good and well what it is that we're supposed to do, but we just don't want to do it yet. I mean, most of the time when somebody comes to me and they're like, Jen, I've got this person who works with me, works for me, an employee, a contractor, whatever, and I'm wondering if I should fire them. And I'm like, okay, let's talk it through. 9 times out of 10, probably 99 out of 100 times, I'm saying absolutely. And the truth is, they already knew that. What it is that they're actually wanting is just somebody to validate their decision and to also maybe give them some, not only affirmation, and affirm their decision, but, some language that they can use. They kind of need somebody to maybe light a fire under them so that they can get to it. Because if you're already asking yourself, like, should I fire somebody? Then you've already seen a bunch of red flags. You just have. Sorry, I've got the sniffles, and there's nothing worse than like a summer cold. So you've already seen red flags. And let me just remind you that, like, if you're needing to let somebody go, that doesn't make you a bad leader. It makes you a very responsible one, because you have to protect like the health of your team if you have more than just one person working for you, and you have to protect the health of your business. And so keeping people past the time when you should have released them to do something different, it's not good for you or for them. And I need for you to think of it through that lens. Very few people are let go and shocked by it. Like I can remember being laid off from a job before, and I knew darn good and well that my head was probably on the chopping block because I had very little to do. So it didn't come as a shock to me. Now, did I boo-hoo for days? Of course. But, this was back in my early 30s, but like I wasn't shocked, and neither was anybody else in the company. There are times when I have let people go whose performance is just not what it should be, and they're not shocked either. Their heart was half in it. They knew they weren't doing a good job. Like, if you've seen red flags, you need to trust your gut on that and take action because avoiding taking that action is just delaying what is probably going to be the inevitable. And while you're delaying, you could be finding somebody else to put in that position, and they, the person you're letting go, could be out looking for something that's better suited for them. So it's almost like mean to them and to yourself to keep people longer than what their season is for. And the longer that you keep someone who is not working out, who's not a good fit for the position, who's not a good fit for the team, the more damage I think gets done, both to morale, to company culture, and even to your bottom line. And I have been guilty of doing this, of keeping people way past time. And it's kind of one of those things like, you know how for those of you who maybe have children, maybe when you were first married, like you and your spouse, you and your husband, like trying to figure out when's the best time for us to have a baby. Well, there is no like best time. There's always like, oh, we want to take that vacation, or oh, we're on the, brink of a promotion, or oh, we just started a business or whatever. Like the perfect time doesn't exist. And the same thing applies to letting someone go. Also, another like example that's kind of in the same genre of examples, if you will, is when people say to me, how do I know if it's time to fire someone? To me, it's like the same thing when people say, how do you know if you're done having babies or not? I've talked to so many young moms who have asked me that, and I'm like, well, if you're asking, you're not done. Because every mother listening to me right now, when you're done, you're done. You're DUN done, and you know you're done. Like, I don't want any more kids. Our quiver is full, right? But if you're even asking, how do I know if we're done? Then you're probably not done. How do you know if you should fire someone? If you're asking the question, you've probably already had red flags and it probably needed to be done yesterday. So that was point number one. If you're asking, it's past time. Point number two, I want you to do something called the would I beg them to stay test. Okay. So one really great piece of advice I was given years and years and years ago is that if I have somebody on my team who comes to me and says, hey, Jen, need to chat with you today. I actually need to put in my 2 weeks. Would I beg them to stay? Now, if this is somebody I would beg to stay, then I probably should not be considering firing them. If the answer is no, nope, I wouldn't beg them to stay. And if a part of you actually feels almost relieved by even just kind of thinking through that, then that's a really great sign. That's a great sign that they have to go. There's relief that comes when you actually like recognize, okay, this is not the right person in this role. Or it's a great person for another role in my company, but not this particular one. There's relief in finally just wrapping your head around that. And so if you would not beg them to stay, they probably need to go. Okay. And you need to like almost ask yourself if the issues you're having with this particular person who works for you can be fixed with like more coaching, more training. If it's something that you can help them with and teach them skills and things, like that's great. But if it's a culture thing and you wouldn't beg them to stay because you guys just don't gel or whatever, like release them, let them go. It'll be a relief for them and a relief for you. So that's point number two. Would you beg them to stay test? All right. Point number three is something called the culture and competency framework. Okay. I want to tell you guys, I actually heard about this first from C.H. Dyer. CH was a guy that I was in a mastermind with years ago, and he did a lot of work for nonprofit organizations, and he was great with like hiring and firing and developing team and all those things. So there were several times I actually heard him talk about this. I actually had him come into my coaching group and coach on this several years ago. And so basically his culture and competency framework is this. It's that every person that you hire and every person that you fire, every person who's working for you and with you, you need to basically evaluate them on two things. One is competency. How well can they actually do the job? How like skilled are they for the position? And the other thing is a culture fit. Do they fit the culture of your company? Do they embody your company's like core values? And if you're like, Jen, I've never even thought through the core values of my company, that's probably something you need to do. Because basically you're sitting down, you're thinking, okay, these are the things that are really important to me. Therefore, they need to be really important to anybody else working here for this company. And if they're not, then we're probably just out of alignment. Okay. And and so here's basically how CH explained it to me and how I'm going to explain it to you. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to show you this handy dandy little graph. Okay. But then it occurred to me the words are going to be backwards. So it's going to help not, but I'm still just holding it up because I drew a straight line with a marker and like a straight edge. And I'm just really proud of my drawing today. Okay. All right. Basically, here's what you need to know. We're looking at culture and we're looking at competency. And there's four different areas that people will fall into. And this is going to help you when you're trying to consider, do I need to fire somebody that currently works for me? Okay. Number one, you have people who you know are very high in culture and they're very high in competency. They're high in both, and they belong in this box here. These are your star people. These are the dream team members. These are the people that you want to protect their position, grow them, celebrate them. They ain't going anywhere. Okay. They're going to help you going forward. All right. You also have the exact opposite of that, which is people that are really low in culture and really low in competency. So those are the people who they have their culture is not a good fit for your company culture. The way that they interact with you, the way that they interact with others, their values, the things that are important to them, how they conduct themselves, how they show up. Like if that is super low and they just don't have any skill set for the position, like fire those people. If you made a bad hire, own it, let them go, release them. Take ownership of it. That's what leadership is. And let them go. Those are a clear, like there's no rational or reasoning that you can bring to me where I'm going to say absolutely keep them. They don't fit the things that are important to you and they can't do their job. Like, no. You know, in on Team Allwood, we have like our core culture values are things like integrity, flexibility, flexibility meaning like time flexibility, hours flexibility, where we work from. Since we're all remote, you know, we have just a lot of flexibility. I let people, you know, go off all the time on vacations or whatever, just take their laptop with them. But that also means that one of our core values is people have to be self-starters because they can't be remote working from all over in the world and need somebody to really micromanage them. Does that make sense? And so, like, if someone is low in fitting with the culture of your company, if they didn't fit into all those things and they don't have a skill set that is valuable on our team, like that's an easy, they need to be released. Okay. Where it gets trickier is if you have people that are like really high on the competency and really low on the culture. All right. Um, they're for me a really quick fire as well. These are the harder ones, though, for most people that I coach to let go of. This person is good at what they do, but they just can't get along with anybody. Okay, they still have to go. They are really good at what they do, but you know, they poison the team. They are arrogant. They gossip. They stir the pot all the time. They are talking smack behind my back. You know, things like that. Like those people in my opinion, you can make the decision that is best for you and your company. But here at Team Allwood, like those would be people that I would let go. It doesn't matter how smart they are if they don't fit the company culture, if they can't get along with anybody else on the team. If I say the sky is blue and they say the sky is blue green and we're just constantly like fighting, you know, bucking heads, it's like an underlying thing. They have to be released. But those are the people that I feel like are the hardest for most of the women that I coach to let go because they're good at what they do. They have a great skill set. Okay. But those are what we consider a ticking time bomb. They're a ticking time bomb. It's just a matter of time before things blow up. Would you rather address it now or would you rather address it later? That's the question you need to ask yourself because it's not a matter usually of if things will blow up. It's just when. Do you want to deal with it now or do you want to deal with it later? And so the fourth category of people is if they are really low on the competency, but they are very high in the culture, low in the competency. We're up here now. All right. These people, I think that you really need to determine if they're able to be moved to possibly a different position on the team. Because if they really fit with the company and they fit with all the other people that you have working for you, or you and them get along really, really well, but they just don't have a skill set that you can really use, is there a position that you could move them to that is better fit for their skill set? Is it worth investing in their skill set, sending them to a seminar, sending them to a training, putting them in my business coaching? Like, if they fit the culture really well and they have the desire to learn the skills and you think they have the potential to learn the skills, then absolutely go ahead and keep them. But I think it's one of those things you have to determine. It's not cut and dried. Like, can you actually use them in a different place? Because if they fit the culture really well, which is really the most important thing, are the skills able to be learned? We've had many people here at Team Allwood who I hired for one thing and have moved and they're doing other things. And so I think that you have to take that just on a case by case, a person by person, type of situation and try to determine, okay, is this person strong enough in the culture area that yes, I can teach them the skills. I can get them the training on that. I can invest in their skill set. I think that they can do it. Sometimes it's a yes, and sometimes it's a no. And so, does that make sense, friends? That's the culture and competency framework. That's the third thing you need to look at if you're considering firing someone. So, again, the first thing is if you're asking, it's probably past time. The second thing is, would you beg them to stay? Like, do that test. Would you beg them to stay? Test. And the third thing is, where do they fit in that culture and competency framework? Because if they are high in both, they fit the culture, they're very skilled, you keep them. If they are low in both, you fire them. If they are really skilled, but they don't fit the culture, they're probably going to have to go either now or later because they're just going to continue to be a rub. And if they are low on their skills, on their competency, but very high in the culture, do you have another place you could move them to? Could you invest in their skills for the long term? Would that be beneficial to you and your business? So listen, I have made some bad hires. I have probably, kept people longer than I should have. I have hired for the wrong reasons. I have delayed letting people go. But I do think that there are ways that you can release people and still maintain a relationship. I think that you can do it in a way that is honorable to them and to you. And if you are interested in a podcast about that, let me know and I can do like a part two to this. But even though letting someone go, firing someone, releasing them, laying them off, whatever that looks like, even though it's uncomfortable, I just want to remind you that as a business owner, there's a lot of uncomfortable things you're going to have to do. There just are. Um, it's part of what we sign up for when we sign up for being an entrepreneur. It's not fun. It's never a good time to have to let somebody know that they're not working out and you're about to take away a paycheck from them. That's never a good feeling. However, at the end of the day, you have money to make and a business to run. And if the people that are currently working for you are not helping to add value to those two things, then you have to switch your team because otherwise you're running it into the ground and the business is going to continue to go in a downward spiral. And then nobody has a job, right? And so hopefully this was helpful today. If you're watching on YouTube, leave me a comment below. And like I said earlier, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, this doesn't really apply to me. I don't have anybody I need to, consider moving their positions, but you can think of a friend who does, please forward this to them. That would be a gift to me. I don't know what's happening to my voice. It's getting a little froggy. Wow, that was like puberty right there. But appreciate you. Thanks for being here, friends. All right, bye-bye. Easton, I just totally went through puberty on this podcast. Did you hear that? Like my voice changed like a teenage boy. It was very weird.